Hey there, welcome to day 28 of the Get Up and Go Challenge. Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here, playing with my keys, of course, the different areas and aspects of our life, which are actually a framework. You know, the physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, financial, relationships, and contribution. That's a framework I learned from Tony Robbins or Jim Rohn or somebody decades ago that I still work with and structure my life around today. Why? Because it works for me. So today, a couple things I want to do. Number one, I want to ask for questions about our SOAP framework. We've gone through an example for each of the 7 areas of our life. A couple of them, the health, the relationships, or physical relationships, and financial. We went through 4 days of SOAP, story, options, actions, and progress for each of those areas. Then we took the other 4 areas and we went 1 day just through a really quick example, which can lead to confusion and questions. And so I want to give you the opportunity to ask questions, and if people are interested, we'll schedule a live Q&A session. Otherwise, I'll just collect the questions, and at the end of the challenge, I will just film a talking quick answer to each of the questions that are posed. I like to do them live and interactive, but sometimes people aren't available, especially this time of year when we're dealing with the holidays and the transition into a new year. Now, that's it. Questions. I want to know if you have any questions, if you're struggling, if you're having any hiccups with the SOAP framework, if you're thinking about an area or aspect that just kind of doesn't make sense to you, just ask and let's talk about it. Let's have a dialogue about it. Remember, the SOAP framework, it's my framework. It's the one I made up that serves me and works for me. And with anything we learn, the most important thing is to figure out and do what absolutely positively works for you. I've studied lots of frameworks and used lots of frameworks during my lifetime, and a lot of them I used for a short period of time and then I let them go because I found something better or different or just something that was easier for me to remember. There are certain frameworks I've used throughout my life, and I share several of them with you during this challenge. Who, what, where, when, why, and how. I learned that in high school from journalism, and throughout my career I have used that. PDCA, Plan, Do, Check, Act. I learned that in college as a framework for my engineering studies in the area of quality engineering, and that became the framework that I used throughout my corporate career because it was the expected framework for the Quality Association, the Certified Quality Manager status and things. So, and there's so many frameworks, and there's frameworks for every area and aspect of our life. And in a minute, I'll share 10 frameworks that Phyllis Taylor wrote. She calls them 10 frameworks to our, I'm going to look and cheat here, our life design. And I really like this framework, and you'll see why as I share the 10 things that she calls them frameworks, but really to me it's like 10 aspects or 10 steps or 10 items to consider when creating your own personal framework for your life. Now, will we ever have just one? I don't imagine that I'll ever just have one framework that I use. It's like situational leadership and management. We use what we need. We use the tools that we need at the time to get the results that we want. One thing I have definitely learned this year is that there's a whole lot of tools and strategies and techniques and hacks and tips and tricks that I've learned over the course of my lifetime that I forgot about until I started really thinking about and doing this Get Up and Go challenge, realizing and wondering, well, what do we do next? What is the next thing we can do so that we don't feel stuck in a place that we don't want to be? So what are some other frameworks? Any matrix, any system, any acronyms, any initials, the DISC personality analysis, you know, the Myers-Briggs, the Ansoff matrix, the anything that's matrixed on a grid with 4 quadrants. Oh, what is it? Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Kiyosaki's got one of those. What is his quadrant? I don't remember his quadrant, but that's a framework. The value ladder from Russell Brunson in the online marketing world, you know, the little ladder that increases in value of the products and services that you offer to people, the value you offer to them. That is an example of a framework. SWOT analysis. Boy, I lived and breathed SWOT analysis. Audits are actually frameworks. Worksheets are frameworks. Graphs and charts and things are often frameworks. And they can be super duper simple, like the plus and minus decision-making tool is actually a framework. Or they can be really, really complicated, like computers programming frameworks or engineering frameworks or mathematical formulas and frameworks. I had one that was really, it was like, this is so complicated, that I was looking at today, and I started laughing. I'm like, yeah, I've used this before, but it's very specific to solving engineering problems and things. But it's a great framework and a tool or a reference that we can use to help make sense out of complicated situations. So I am curious, what are some of your favorite frameworks? In the comments below for our action item, I would love for you to share if you have a favorite go-to framework that you use, or if you have a guiding tool or something that you use and it's your favorite. And maybe it's just your favorite right now. Like right now, I have a few favorite, obviously, I'm talking about them in the Get Up and Go Challenge, but I have a few favorite tools. The Lifeline exercise. That's actually, the exercise itself is a framework to manage our thinking and our thoughts around a certain topic or area. So let's look quickly at this Phyllis Taylor, the 10 frameworks, she calls the 10 frameworks of life design. And basically it's just 10 steps or 10 different things to consider when you are designing your life, right? And that includes physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, financial, relationships, and contribution, all of the areas and aspects of your life. So let me just run through these, and then you can share or comment and ask questions about this as well. Number 1, she says, radically accept where you are in your journey. That sounds familiar, doesn't it? S, where are you right now? What's your current situation? Number 2, forget finding your passion. Seek to understand yourself. Get to know you, because what's the most important thing is that you be you. Number 3, define what matters to you. What's most important to you? Your core values, your beliefs, your thoughts, your feelings. All of those are filters, and they're actually a filtering framework for how you see and experience the world. Number 4, another familiar one, brainstorm many possible pathways. Brainstorm options. Sounds like the O in SOAP, right? What are the options? What are different possible things you could do or could explore? Number 5, build a network through empathizing and learning from others. Model what other successful people or what other people that are doing what you want to do, model what they're doing so that you can get similar results. Number 6, design your story, and this actually added, and your personal brand. I don't know exactly what Phyllis's background is, but design your story. Doesn't that sound familiar? This is our current story of the S. What do we want our story to be? That's designing your story. Number 7, try it out. Test it. Test your ideas and assumptions in the real world. Take action. The A in our SOAP framework. Go take action and see what happens. See if what you're thinking and testing works. I always say use yourself as your own greatest science experiment, because that's really what we are. Number 8, be flexible. Adapt your plan based on what you learn. So go out, test it. And again, are you making progress? Are you moving toward what you want, or are you moving away from what you want? There's our P in SOAP. Number 9, focus on who you're evolving into, not one static, in this one, she says, talk not fixed on one static fixed career, but who you want to be, who you want to show up as. Be flexible with that based on who you're becoming as a result of all these other things that you're doing. And number 10, believe your life is worth designing. Absolutely, positively know with 100% certainty that you and your life are absolutely worth creating what you want it to be, not what things around you or people around you think that you should do. So I like those, of course, because it sort of goes along with the SOAP framework, except instead of 10 things, it's 4 things. But as we've talked through the SOAP framework, I think we probably hit on all of those things, at least briefly. So today, action item, what's your favorite framework? Share your favorite framework in the comments below. I've gone through periods of time where who, what, where, when, why, and how was my favorite. PDCA was my favorite. PSDM, which is problem solving decision making, another framework. I am a very process and systems oriented person, so I have used a lot of frameworks and a lot of things in my lifetime that I love, but never, they're not always the same. It depends on what the problem is that I'm trying to solve, or what the situation is, or what the challenge is, or what the change is, and what tools and things are appropriate for that particular situation. And that's entirely up to us. And I think you've seen over the course of this challenge as well that I take tools and things that I learn and strategies and techniques, and I morph them into what works for me. For example, the nominal group technique. When I want to do it on my own instead of doing it with a group of people, because it's normally established for a group of people, I just tweak the way I use it a little bit so that it works for me. And that is the bottom line to everything. do what works for you, do what feels right for you, and create the frameworks and the methods and the strategies that work best for you. Because guess what? You're the only one that's going to do it for you. That is our challenge for today. I guess our tool was frameworks, a lot of different frameworks. And again, our action item is just share any questions that you have about the SOAP framework or about the challenge so far. And then share what's your favorite framework that you've ever experienced right now. And I want to see if it's probably one I've never heard of. All right, have an amazing day. I will be with you tomorrow with day 29 of our Get Up and Go challenge. Bye. Have a great day.